Welcome. Okay, so today I'll be talking about a very interesting topic. I consider it to be very, interesting. And um, I'll just be speaking freely to us, speaking freely from my heart. We'll be talking about how that, there's this popular scripture of the Bible, talking about that every weapon formed against you shall not prosper. And even though we quote that verse of the scripture so often, especially when you're trying to prove your point, or you're trying to say to someone that whatever they're plotting, or whatever their desire, or whatever their plan says for you will not stand. And as true as that is, there is the other side of the coin that we don't often talk about. Now we're talking about a weapon or anything at all formed against you. What about a weapon or a sort of anything that can harm you that is formed within? So what I'm saying is that, we often say every weapon formed against us will not prosper. But I'm here to tell you that most of the battles, most of the weapons that people are fighting against are not the one fighting, against them. They are the one they are fighting. Most of those weapons are against themselves. They are the one fighting against themselves. And that is because they are from the within. They are from the within. I'm going somewhere. So, so I run two podcasts, Uncomfortable but Necessary and Dare Talk podcast. So right here on Comfortable and Necessary, we talk about topics, we talk about life-changing topics, issues, truthfully. Most of the conversations that most people will prefer to shy away from, they prefer to go for the interesting topics. It's not just about interesting, it's about value. It's about bringing truth to limelight, regardless of how you feel, regardless of how comfortable that topic or that subject is. Because the truth is that there are a lot of conversations that we need to have amongst ourselves that is necessary for the future we want, for the world that we want, for the family that we want, for the organization that we are building, for the person that we are becoming. If we refuse to have those conversations, all of those desires will end up in hopes that are never met or they are never experienced. Right? So as I was saying, so that is for Uncomfortable but Necessary podcast. So the other podcast that I run is Dare Talks, where people just ask questions and I answer them live. Either they send it, on a designated email, or they ask me live right here on the YouTube, and I answer them live. So as I was answering some questions, the last episode, someone asked a question and she said that she had a boyfriend that the guy was always checking out this other girl whenever they're around. And because of that, she's wanting to let him go. That even though she has, told the guy she's no longer wanting the relationship, because he's always almost comparing her to this other girl. And I'm like, oh, that's good. You don't stay with someone that does not value you. So I answered the question, she asked the question, and she asked this follow-up question. And it was like, how do I stop comparing myself to this lady? So I'm like, oh, well, wait a minute. Now is a problem. Because first it started with your boyfriend seeing someone else and comparing you with this person, or checking them out when you're with them. They are probably distracted by them, looking at them. And now you're letting your boyfriend go. But the problem now is that you are now comparing yourself with the person, you know, that made you part ways with your boyfriend. So it's no longer your boyfriend comparing you with this person. Now you're comparing yourself with this person. And that happened because an image had been formed in her head over time. And she started at some point to start believing that this other girl was better than she is. She even sent it the question that she thinks that this person is better than her physically. And I'm like, what is your definition of better? Is it taller? Is it slimmer? What is the definition of better? And one of the ways that I think, most people are victims of situations like that is because we've not mastered the art of imagery. This is what I'm trying to say. All of the things, or most of the things that you think about, or the things that you see yourself, lusting after, or hoping for, or wanting to become, was sold to you by what you saw, what someone said, or what you heard. Like the usual way that I do put it, the funnel to every man's heart: your eyes, your ears, and other people's mouths. Those are the funnels to your heart. What are you giving yourself to seeing? What are you giving your ears to hearing? What are you allowing, or what are you giving yourself to other people say to you? Sometimes you can like, oh, no, I don't really care what other people say. Most of the time, you might not really care. But as time goes on, when you stay there perpetually, when you're there and those garbage words or those comparison words are being said to you and you're hearing them over and over, it's in a way from an image of what the standard should be like to you. So am I saying that we should shut our eyes and be blindfolded wherever we are going, or we should block our ears and not hear what people are saying? That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that you should understand that you have the power for active listening. Active, especially when you have the power to leave that space, stop what you're watching, you know, tell the person that is saying garbage words to you to stop, you know, being intentional about what you allow come to you. Because most of the weapon, like I said earlier, most of the weapon that are being formed or that other people are, looks as if is against them, is not usually what people have, are presently doing. It is what has been formed over time. In fact, the person that brought the word, or that showed you that image, or where you heard that thing from, they have moved on. In fact, they're not even aware. For example, you watch a movie and it's probably an horror movie. Whoever that acted that movie had moved on with their life, right? You're the one watching the movie, staying on the movie, watching everything, seeing how it happened, to how it, you're the one in the present. And if you stay in that space too long, it will start creating image. Even after you're done watching the movie, you will start saying what you saw in the movie in people. Sometimes it can be very funny how that you've, watch a movie for a very long period of time, or over some time, or a period of time, and you will start to imagine what you saw in the movie. You start to see it from someone else. Not like the person is acting what you saw, but it's almost like you're predicting, or you're expecting, or you're extending the movie to reality. You're saying, oh, probably, for example, people that watch all this superstition or even can even be romance movie. You've watched the movie and you're like, you're not, yeah, now you will now be expecting people in reality to be playing a script that you watch in the movie. Just the same way that media showed to us what beautiful should look like. Just the same way media showed to us what better is. Just the same way media showed to us or better defined, or defined in another way some of the things that we used to know. For example, most people now, when you ask them the definition of beautiful, they think, oh, beautiful is slim and tall. No, most people that are saying, I want a man that is, tall, dark, and handsome. Some of the time, genuinely, they don't really care if they are tall. What make them start caring if a man is tall is because media, is because, people are saying it, oh, a tall guy is better. For what use is a tall guy in your life? Sincerely speaking, how does that add to you as an individual? Or what does it take from them? Does it stop them from being who they are internally? What I'm saying is that most of the battles that most people are fighting are not usually the active physical outer one. These are weapons that you've allowed time, you've allowed people, you've allowed external forces and influences over time to imprint in your heart. Now those weapons are now formed internally and they are fighting you. The thought of what success is, the thought of what beautiful is, the thought of purpose, the definition of purpose. And if care is not taken, regardless of what is happening in the outside world, the weapon formed within can be so strong that you lose your touch of the realities. One of the questions that I was asked during the Dear Talks podcast, it was around self-awareness, self-value, self-worth, and like that. And one thing I kept on saying, I think throughout the episode, because it was showing in different questions, is that self-identity is very, very vital for any man that wants to live life successfully. This is not even about ambition or what I want to become. You want to live life successfully, peacefully, happily, with contentment. You need to understand who you are as a person. So the thing is that I've seen a lot of people change their life trajectory, not because they chose to. People changing careers, not because what they are changing to is better. People changing who they are, not because who they are is not a good person or what they are changing to is better. I've seen people make choices not because they understand the choices they are making or the decisions they are making or the choices they are making is better, but solely because they lack self-identity. You will continue to change spouses if that is possible, or let me say your taste for your partner. You continue to change your definition for friendship, your definition of success, your career path. You continue to change a lot of things, not because what you are changing to is better, not because what you are changing to is what you want to change to, but because there's this inner void, because there's this lost, like LOST. You're lost. You've lost track of who you are. You've lost your essence. You've lost a vision. You've lost an image. You've lost an identity. And until you know your identity as a person. So I have a WhatsApp group for ladies, where people ask questions and all of that. And someone was saying on the group, she said that she has a friend that um she feels like every other person is moving ahead with their lives, and she's like, behind in life. And I'm like, that's normal. We usually have that feelings. So let me say always, usually, have that feeling most of the time, especially when it seems like we are not, doing what other people are doing. But the issue now is that this friend of hers is now becoming jealous. And because of that, she's now withdrawing herself from the other friends. So even though they're trying to be around her, make her not get isolated, but she's pulling away. Yeah, I understand the place of um disappointment, or when you've played your part in life and you know that I've done all that I needed to do, or I'm doing the best that I can in the moment, right? And looks as if some things are not working, and looks as if other people that are not, you know that, these people are not that serious, and looks as if lines are falling on pleasant places for them. What will still make you be content in that phase and be happy for them is knowing who you are. See, a lot of problems that you're facing, in fact, cross country in businesses, is because most people have lacked the authenticity of who they are or what they represent. Everybody is doing the same thing. It's just like AI. If you're trying to generate probably an article or an image, you can, there's some image or there's some write-ups or some articles that when you go online and you see them, you can know that this is AI generated. Why? Because it is generic. That is what most people are doing. They are they are doing life in a generic way. You cannot be doing you cannot be doing the general. You cannot be, your life is not a general life. It's your life. It's something personal. And if you lack self-identity, it will show in how you carry your business. It will show in how you carry yourself. Someone was also asking, and I gave a response. I said that most of the time we are not aware of the energy you carry around. And this is still about how you see yourself from the inside. An happy person is not a happy person because they're always laughing. They are happy because within they are happy. Not because they're always smiling or they're always showing that. Sometimes when we see people are always happy, they might not always be laughing. But it shows in how they talk. You can know it from how they, carry themselves. It can show from how they talk to you. That's why sometimes if confident people are not careful, people will term them pride, like they're proud. Because it's an energy. It's an energy. And this energy is not what you can fake. It is not the fake it to become it. No. This is not the energy that you can pretend. Time will tell. This energy is the sincere state of your heart, the sincere state of your mind, the sincere state of your sight, of how you see yourself. So today I'm just talking about, the weapon formed within you. Because that is what is stopping a lot of people from pursuing their dreams, from pursuing, they are pursuing, it's just what they are pursuing is almost like the AI generated image of themselves. It is still not the real you. An AI generated life purpose. It is still not your life purpose. AI telling you what to do. It is not still what you are. You need to understand the core of your essence. And that is why sometimes comparison we fling out of the window because you know who you are. You understand your race, you understand the peculiarity of your essence. We cannot all be the same. In fact, we are not the same. Nobody is the same. The fact that it's just so fascinating how that with the billions of people all over the world, no two-person has the same thumbprint. Like, doesn't it amaze you how different and distinct God has created every single one of us? If God has created everybody to have 5 fingers, and even with the 5 fingers, our thumbprint is not the same, not two-person, whether they are, in fact, no two-person from the same family has the same thumbprint. Doesn't that amaze you? Doesn't that amaze you? So why are you trying to live your life if your thumbprint is not the same as someone else? Why are you living their life? It's because we have not understood, we have not got to the place of self-awareness, self-worth, self-identity. It is lack of a self-identity that make people to, you know, go, accept deals that they should not, do some kind of work that they should not. It's lack of self-identity that will make some people end up with a partner that they should not end up with. It's lack of self-identity that will make people stay in one place for decades and not make an attempt because they don't have what the image of them they have is blurry. The image of them they have is the distorted one. The image of them that they have is the one that have suffered trauma and they have not healed from within. The image of them that they have is not the true version of them. And these things will play, like I said, it will show in how you live your daily lives. It will show. Should I shock you that most of the disfavor that some people experience is not entirely based on how someone else is treated them? Most of those disfavor, there's a way that there's a way that you carry yourself, and it's almost like if nobody does not, if the person that should favor you is not favoring you, there's a way they can feel bad. Whenever I read the scripture, I'm amazed at the wisdom it teaches. For example, Joseph. When Joseph was in prison, he was in prison multiple times, and one of the things that the Bible kept on saying about Joseph was he was a good man to look on, like he was a fine man. In fact, when he was told to come before the king, you know, to when he was being brought from the prison to the palace, he had to clean up himself. Sometimes the way you carry yourself can close some doors. Sometimes your perception of you, because it will show in how you carry yourself, it will show in how you talk, it will show in how you communicate. I've seen someone that wanted to ask a question, I'm like, oh, don't mind my I'm trying to remember how the person tried to put it. Like she was just trying to say, like, like when you want to say something, you're putting out a disclaimer out there, right? So like, don't mind my I think she was talking about probably accents or something like that. Don't mind my accents or something like that. And this lady, asked the question and she spoke well. And I'm like, not until she said, don't mind this thing. People were now trying to mind the accent because they were now hoping or expecting. Even I was expecting probably something that I will not understand. But she spoke so well. Sometimes you're already going you are going everywhere with a billboard all over you that no one is even aware of. You are the first person to let people know that, oh, you feel tall is better because you are insecure. You are the one making people feeling like, oh, slimmer is better because you feel, because you think you're fat, so you're not worthy of their love. Because there's a way you can carry yourself, there's a way you can talk about yourself, there's a way you can I was watching a video, and the speaker was telling people to meet their partner, greet everyone around you, introduce yourself, and people were just doing it, like, okay, let's just do it. Or probably they don't really have anything to say about themselves. He stopped them. He now told them to that they're going to do it again. But before then, he said something. He said, I want you, because it's a relationship summit, right? He said, now, what you just did now, I want you to do it again. But I want you to do it as if the person you're talking to or the person next to you is the one that will market you to your spouse to be, or market you. Because who knows, if the person sitting next to you is going to be a sibling, a cousin, a nephew, a niece, or someone that you would end up with. And this person is probably going to be the person that will talk about you to your partner to be. So market yourself. He also gave another scenario. You're wanting an investor, or you're seeking for partners. Imagine that this person has the door or has the key to that sponsor or to that partner you're wanting. Now market yourself. Come and see the way people started talking. They were smiling, and I'm like, oh, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense, because it boils down to, some of the time, what makes us not to do the things we want to do, or or stop us from doing the things we want to do, or make us end up doing something else, is because of words. And I say again, what words are you giving yourself to? Because what changed that behavior that they displayed was because of what he said. And it kind of, in a way, clicked to an expectation or a desire that they had, right? Do you know that right there were still some people that were still, you know, in probably they were shy, I don't know, in a way, and they're still not all out talking and interacting with people. And I'm like, this is what we're talking about. Even with all the convincing and prepping that I did, if the inner work is not there, if the inner confidence is not there, if the self identity is not there, you will still feel a kind of shame to, I can't talk to this kind of people, or I can't talk to this kind of person, or let me just look for someone that is like me and go and talk to them. Because I've seen people that the kind of people that they need in their life, they are afraid of having conversations with them. Not because this person or these people do not want to talk to them, but because they themselves, they're already judging themselves. They're already like, I don't know if they want to talk to me. I don't know if I will say the right thing. Oh, I don't know if they can talk to someone like me. See, when you start saying something like, oh, people like us, people like me, you're already having a distorted image of yourself. Because what's the definition of people like you? Who are the people like you? Who define people like you? What is the ideology behind the people like you? Is this something that you should be proud of when you are saying people like you? Is it from a good standpoint, or what are you trying to say? People like you. What I'm saying is that, in essence, as I begin to wrap up, is that most of the weapon formed against people are not usually from outside. It's from distorted image of themselves. And this can be as a result of a lot of things. Unhealed trauma, what you've given yourself to, like I said earlier, funnels to our hearts, what we see, what you hear, and you allow those things. I'm not talking about just what you see randomly. I mean, active listening, active watching, things that you are intentional, things that you gave time to breathe on. You're not just saying, you are meditating on those things. Over time, it has now become a stronghold in your heart. And if care is not taken, your life will begin to go in the direction of your distorted vision of yourself or distorted image of yourself. So, in essence, what I'm saying to you is, what is your self identity? Do you know who you are as a person? Do you know why you're here? This reminded me of the Peace Boot camp that I had last year. That was the theme. I just remember right now. You know, who am I? Why am I here? And where am I going to? We're going to have I think the third or um, the fourth. So it's a yearly boot camp, and last year we had it online because at the point I was pregnant, so we couldn't have a physical meeting. So this year we'll also be having it online. So it has been on a platform. It's going to be coming up next month. It's a 1 week. It's a 1 week, program. It's going to be right here on YouTube as well. So you might just want to just subscribe and turn on notification bell. So when it's going to be a live boot camp, right? So you'll be notified every time I come live, so you can be a part of it. It's coming up August, the first week in August. Like I was saying, you need to know who you are as a person, because it will help you in your choices, in the kind of people you choose as a life partner, business partner, destiny partner, your friends, the people you allow in your ships. Think of any ships, friendships, partnerships, relationships, every kind of ships will be as a result of your understanding of who you are, or your definition of who you are. Your definition of who you are will even affect where you're going. It will affect why you're here. It will affect the choices and decisions you make. I've seen people say things like, "Oh, I just want to marry a rich man." I'm like, why do you want to marry a rich man? Because again, they say there's nothing worth pursuing for themselves, because they feel like, even if I work from now for next 20 years, I cannot make money. It's just a distorted, and people say it with pride, I cannot marry a man that is not rich. And most of the time it's the broke girls that say these things. I'm like, okay, if you're wanting a man to be rich, why are you not rich? If you're expecting someone of age mates to be richer than you are, then why are you not as rich as you want them to be? It's because they don't see themselves being able to acquire or work hard or do productive things with their lives. And that is because they do not place value on themselves as an individual. They think all that is about life is about money. They think all it's about working is about earning. They lack purpose. Most people, they think why they should work is because they want to earn money. No. Is it are you feeling fulfilled with what you're doing? There's a place of fulfillment. There's a place of purpose. There's a place of excellence. There's a place of community. There's a place of, putting in societal, um, outreaches and all of those things. I said I was going to wrap up. So what I'm just saying is that it is important, it's of essence that you know who you are, because it will affect the entire grand scheme of things. It can change your trajectory in life. It's just like you're heading somewhere. And if you don't know, speed in the wrong direction is destruction. You can be moving with so much speed right now, be it in your career, in your business, but you are headed towards the wrong direction. And what will put you back or give you the effrontery to turn back, to stop, is identity. We're talking about self branding, business branding, everything branding. Who are you as a person? Stop doing the generic AI image. Stop doing the generated AI of yourself. Stop being an AI generated version. Be the authentic of yourself. Be the authentic of yourself. This we are going to call it a wrap, and I just really feel that this has opened someone's eyes to knowing probably the actual cause of their problems, or where their problem is most likely coming from. The people that will not favor you, now you know what might be causing it. The people that will not want to come close to you, now I think you know why. People that will not want to be in relationship with you, I think now you know why. People that will not want to do business with you, I think now you know why. People that will not want to buy from you, I think you now know why. Because of how you've positioned your business, the image of yourself that you are giving people, and it's as a result of the image of you in your head. So now you know that you need to start seeing yourself better. Now you know you need to be, an authentic of yourself, and not the AI generated version of yourself, or the society generated version of yourself, or the people kind of expectation generated, version of yourself, the authentic version of yourself. Because that is the way you can stay true to yourself, stay true to purpose, and have fulfillment all around. If this has in a way, you know, added value to you, please feel free to subscribe, share to someone, your friends. You can just watch this with your partner, your friends, your teammates, and challenge each other to do good things, better things, big things in life, in business, and career. Until I see you in my next video.